What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you by Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Spread Astaire, joined today by Glockoma and Glock. Eric Chang says, "Are we really doing a show for one game?" Yes, we are. Glockoma, how you doing today?
Doing good, spread doing good. Yeah, we're definitely doing a show for one game. There's like 100K up top on DraftKings Showdown, so there's no shows on the Run Pure DFS side today. So figured I'd hop on. I'm free, break it down with spread, and kind of talk some plays with everyone.
All right, yeah, and we had a couple other things we were going to talk about. Hopefully Tyler jumps on soon. Not exactly sure what's going on with him, but let's just go over what I was going to look at with some futures here. Okay, and of course, oh, here they are. Basketball futures, because I figure we have some time, but I don't have NBA on Bookmaker. I'm gonna have to pull them up on a different book. But just overall, like, what are you thinking of the NBA team so far when it comes to like who do you think is going to win the championship?
Man, it's tough, right? Like I think this year more than ever, it's kind of up in the air. And like you saw last night, Steph Curry went down and he's out indefinitely. So, obviously Golden State was one of the stronger teams. Milwaukee's always going to be in the mix. Phoenix, you don't know what's going to go on with the Chris Paul situation either, right? Is he going to be
Right.
back in time for the playoffs? So, in Brooklyn, like, is Kyrie going to get past that little mandate? Is he going to be able to play home games? Because, if they obviously they're not going to have home court advantage, but that's 3 home games in the playoffs that Kyrie won't be able to play. What if he plays the Knicks? Do you know he can play in Madison Square Garden, right? Do you
No,
know,
he
Spread?
can't play in New York either. So,
Oh my gosh.
but I'm not
Imagine.
too worried about them playing the Knicks. Do you think the Knicks can make it?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't checked the
Let me pull
standings in
the
the
stand.
East, but
Okay, so I check the standings almost every day. I kind of read them off, but they are 28 and 40. There's 5.5 games behind Charlotte right now for
okay.
10th. So
So, yeah,
I
so
mean,
they'd have to go on a
technically
little
they could,
streak.
but in my mind, they're eliminated.
Yeah, they'd have
Yeah.
to go on a streak, but just in my head, like imagine if they like played each other in a play-in or something like that. Kyrie wouldn't be able to play. And last night I was watching the Mavs versus Brooklyn, and what you do is you just double team Durant, get the ball out of his hands, make him pass, and let other guys beat you. And it worked out for the Mavs. So yeah, I think just based on like current injury situations, there's a lot of unknowns, and I think this championship could be up for grabs, honestly.
All right. Yeah. You know what? I forgot. I did want to talk about that game real quick, and then let's go over some futures real quick. So, great game, right? Great game. I was a little mad because I had the under, and it was trending so tough towards the under, and in that last 45 seconds, they were quite efficient from half court. Luca hits it. Durant comes back, and Durant's was money, man. When you watch that Durant one, you say that's why everyone still picks the Nets because I mean, Luca's looked like, oh, that was a great shot. Durant's looked like that was a casual, easy shot for him, right? Like, and then of course Luca makes a great play, finds Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie makes a tough shot again. Like I said, I thought both Dallas shots were tough, but that's what those guys are there for. Pretty exciting ending. As a Mavericks fan, how did that like get you excited? Because you have to be thinking, hey, right? I mean, these are the type of games we're going to need to win if we're going to make noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think a few weeks ago, AP messaged me. He was like, "What do you think about taking the Mavs 40-1 to win it all?" And obviously, in my head, I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm a homer. I would love to take that bet for sure." And I think he did hammer it. So,
Yeah, he
when,
did. We talked about it last Friday.
yeah, when you see like wins like that for the Mavs, I think they're like plus 52 in clutch situations. Um, in like this new year, I think they have like a 25-8 record or something like that in the new year. One of the best records in the league behind Boston. Ever since we got Dinwiddie, it just feels like we're meshing better together. We have an extra playmaker to take the pressure off of Luka when he needs it, and I don't know. I love what I'm seeing for the Mavs. If they can stay healthy, I keep telling like my local Mavs fans, I was like, I wish the playoffs started tomorrow because I think the Mavs are actually one of the hottest teams in the league. Um, you have the confidence of Spencer Dinwiddie saying, when you have the best player on the floor every night, you always have a chance to win.
Mhm.
Obviously he's talking about Luka. And then I think in the post game comments last night, Dorian Finney-Smith, he was like, "We don't have anyone that's jealous of each other anymore in the locker room." And to me, that's just a
Yeah.
straight shot at Kristaps Porzingis.
Well, and it's kind of right, and we know the answer is both. But what was better about that trade? Adding Dinwiddie or just getting rid of Porzingis? Because we've all been in situations where there's one person that's not on board and it brings the whole group down.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's a little combination of both. But if I were to honestly choose one, I think it'd be getting rid of KP
Yeah, I
because
kind of do too.
yeah, because like if you think about it, I don't know, I follow the Mavs really close. So there was like when KP first got here, he was complaining about how short his stints were. This was under Carlisle. And like, he would play the first 5 minutes and check back in towards the end of the first quarter. And he basically said in a post-game presser that he couldn't get into rhythm like this. And this was when Luka was playing the entire first and third quarters like he is doing now. So like obviously Luka was crushing, but Porzingis was not getting into his rhythm, right? So at that moment, Rick he rotated the rotation. So basically, Luka would come out after 5 minutes, and then KP would stay in for the longer duration of the first and third quarters, just so he could find rhythm. And this was when Luka, everyone was calling him fat, and he wasn't getting into rhythm either, and stuff like that. So that changed the rotation drastically. And ever since KP's been here, they've been doing that. And then once they traded him off, boom, they got rid of that. Luka's playing the entire first and third quarters now. He's obviously leading the league in first quarter scoring. And, when your team wins the first quarter in the NBA, it has really positive effects for you winning the game overall. So I think getting rid of KP was the biggest plus. And you're seeing in Luka, he's leading the league in scoring since KP's been traded, which is surprising to me because Jason Tatum's been on a tear as well. But yeah, I think getting rid of KP was huge for the Mavs, and obviously just Spencer Dinwiddie showing what he is capable of, post his surgery, is just a cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, when you're having to force offensive options to a guy that he's not earning them through his play, he's not earning them through his points per possession, right? It's not like I can just look and go, oh, well, when you post up, you average, more than a point per possession. It wasn't that case. He was below a point per possession. That's why, post ups are gone. This isn't 1995 anymore. And you're trying to force it in the post there, so you're not getting advantage equity out of those from Porzingis. Then he's a liability on the defensive end. For every great block shot he had, there's a time he's late on rotation. It reminds me of Hassan Whiteside. He gets the highlights, but he's not getting you there and they're out. And and there's a guy like Isaiah Stewart, right? He might not have the same stats, but at least he's there on every play, right? Maybe he's fouling sometimes too, but at least he's actually a physical presence there. So pretty excited about that. For you as a Dallas fan, let's go ahead and look at the numbers. So I pulled them up on Bet Online. I was going to go in order, but we started with Dallas. They're down to 33-1. I mean, I don't hate the idea. So, you want to make the case against it. You just say, the West is stacked, the NBA is stacked. The NBA champion might be coming out of the East this year, the way that it's looking. If I want to make the argument for it, though, I say, number one, they have one of the best half-court defenses in the league. I underrated Jason Kidd. He's got these guys to buy in, and he actually runs defensive schemes. Like Durant specifically talked about the different looks on the double teams that he was getting, and it wasn't just a standard double that he could figure out, right? And I give credit to Jason Kidd for that. And then of course Luka in the half court. So the end of the game, there's not going to be a transition, right? So being able to get up and down the floor doesn't matter to win a playoff game. The Dallas can execute in the half court. What do you think at 33-1?
Yeah, I love it. And ever since Luka has gotten here, we've played the Clippers in the playoffs every single year with Kawhi and Paul George. And obviously that's it's exciting for me this year because we're going to get a new matchup. And I think just because of that, anything can happen. Right now, it looks like, we're going to jostle Utah.
Yeah,
for the
right now. So I'm
right
you guys is playing in Utah. So things might change, but let's just give everyone a quick thing here. You're 42-26, or Utah's 42-26. You are 42-26-0. Well, I guess it could change here. Denver's sitting back at 41-28, so they're a game and a half behind you guys. Golden State's all the way up there, so I guess Denver could sneak in. But boy, with the way things are going for that team, I think it's going to be hard for them to make up 3 games because both Utah and Dallas are playing well. How would you see a Utah-Dallas matchup playing out? Wait, you didn't get the link, Tyler? No wonder he's not here.
No, yeah. While you send the link, I could break it down.
Please do.
I don't know what we are against Utah in the series, but I know we did win last time. I know Luka and Rudy Gobert have bad blood, so that'd be a great matchup. And I would love to play the Nuggets too. I think I feel more confident against the Nuggets, honestly, than Utah. I think the Nuggets present less defensive challenges for us overall. But I think we have a good shot at any of them, honestly. And I already talked with Big T. Like if the Mavs play Denver in the playoffs, we're gonna get some action on it. So I honestly hope it's somehow Denver sneaks up there and then it's the Mavs versus Denver the first round.
I like your matchup versus Utah better.
Really?
Yeah, I do,
Really?
right? Because Jokic is that X factor. Denver potentially has the people coming back with Bones Highland coming back.
Yeah, he's been playing great, Bones
Yeah.
Highland.
All right, Tyler. So this is what, twice in a week now that I've forgotten to send a link.
I mean, I missed the parlay one day this week. Spread's just like, get here. He's like, we don't need you anymore.
All right. Hey, Tyler, we're talking about Dallas and Utah. I'm going to let Glockoma finish his thoughts, and then we're going to just go through. And then, of course, now that you're here, we'll be able to do a little bit of mock draft stuff too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a shot. I think it'll go 6 or 7 for sure. That's going to be one of the best first round matchups. I think, that we'll get. That'll be super contested. I think Utah is just one of those teams that I don't know what it is about them, but they just need. I don't know what they need, but I just don't feel like I'll ever see them.
I'll tell you what they need.
They
need a one perimeter defender because they don't have someone that can stop the point of attack. And they need a secondary creator besides Donovan Mitchell because everything is based around Donovan Mitchell. He doesn't have the Dinwiddie, the Brunson, right? The other guy that can create out the dribble. Jordan Crawford can, right?
Yeah, Clarkson, yeah.
Clarkson, yeah. I'm sorry. He plays the same game as Jamal Crawford. That's why I get him mixed up. But he's such a liability on defense. I can't count on him to close. So
no, yeah, right, I don't blame you.
Tyler, jump in here. We're talking about Dallas. AP talked about them at 40-1. They're 33-1 right now. Are me and Glockoma just sipping on pipe dreams here, or does Dallas really have a shot?
No, I mean, Dallas definitely has a shot, I think. I mean, they play good defense. You look at the Western Conference, it's like Phoenix. Steph just went down last night. He's out indefinitely. So we don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah.
They might be the team that's just plagued by injuries up until playoffs, so they might never get back to the same. You look around the West, I mean, I know you guys, Jokic stands are going to plug in Denver as the third team. I say
no, Memphis is the third team.
Well, yeah, Memphis still, but I still think they're inexperienced. Like, that's going to show in the playoffs. Like, when Golden State made their first run to the playoff spread, remember they played the Spurs and they took them to 6? And it was like, all right. Yeah, it was like, all right, this team's probably going to be back next year with a vengeance, and we've seen what happened the next few years. Mm-hmm. I think this is Memphis's first year in, so I'd say
Dallas they made it last year, but they just didn't do too well, right?
Who did they play in the first round last year? Because they won the play-ins, right?
They played the Jazz.
Oh, okay.
They played the Jazz last year?
Yeah, they played. Remember the Jazz were the 1 seed, and everyone had them.
I don't know why I have Phoenix in the 1 seed as my mind is last year. Yeah, good call, Tyler.
But yeah, I'd say Dallas is that third team because we all know Luka could just go on a crazy run. You see the team defense they play against Brooklyn last night. You could blueprint that against any other team if you could stop KD. So I like their chances.
All right, so there's a play. What we'll do is I'll just go over some of the teams real quick, Tyler, and then I want you to did you have that mock draft available? And we could talk about guys that we might be watching in the tournament.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go over some of these odds here real quick. Phoenix Suns are at plus 375. I think at that price, hey, they got a chance to win it, but I don't think it's even right there. I don't like that bet at all. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, that's too low of odds for me. I couldn't take that.
Well, when is Chris Paul? Is there a plan on him coming back? Like, do we even know when he's going to come back yet?
What, they just said 6 to 8 weeks right at the All-Star break, so it should be right at the end of the season.
Yeah, right at the end or right as playoff start.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, so they're definitely live with Chris Paul.
Yeah, they're definitely live. I'm just saying at plus 375. No, I mean, you'd have to give me like plus, what would you say, Tyler? At plus 700, I'm in.
Yeah.
Plus
like
600,
the one that sticks out to me the most, spread.
Okay.
They didn't lose anybody. They gained a few more role players. The Bucks are plus 650 and they're behind the Nets. I don't think that should be there. Like, they could literally stumble through the playoffs again and get there and win. So plus 650 on them sticks out to me. Of course, the 10-1 on Miami, because I think Miami is the best team in the East. But we'll see how that
a lot more.
We'll see how that turns into the playoffs.
I just trust the Bucks to score against good defense is better than Miami.
Yeah.
I think Miami could have problems scoring on Philly. They're definitely going to have problems scoring on Boston if they play them.
I don't trust Philly.
I don't either. I wouldn't put money on them. They could win it, but what do you have for them? I have them at 7 plus 750. I'd have to have like 12-1 to take it.
Who, to take Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got plus 850. I'm not taking that.
Yeah.
2 guys on that team that are known to gas out too, and I'm not sure the whistle is going to be there as much in the playoffs. So,
I would be surprised if it is. Glockoma, what do you think of Philadelphia?
I think I'm with you, Spread. I think I like Milwaukee and Philly over Miami. Honestly, I think Miami, they play great defense. Don't get me wrong, but like I do have concerns about them scoring for sure. I think Tyler Hero is like such an X factor for this team. Like you saw in the bubble, like he was going off, and
I'm throwing the bubble out.
Yeah, and if you throw that bubble out,
MVP in the bubble.
Yeah, if you throw that bubble out, then what have the Miami Heat done?
If we're throwing the bubble out, I don't want to hear no Jamal Murray talk about him coming back because then it means nothing. The dude did nothing outside of the bubble.
I think that's fair.
All right,
I agree.
I think it's fair.
I'm just getting that statement in there before we're in a week when everyone's like, "Oh, Jamal Murray's back. They're championship contenders now." It's like,
well, all those shooters had such an advantage with no one in the crowd, and it's just the 24-hour fitness feel with the nice, easy backdrop, right?
We've all shot a basketball here, right?
And the teams were disjointed.
You shoot on the same hoop for so long, you start to get the rim feel. It's like, all right, I can pretty much just throw this thing up and I can get it to go in. Mm-hmm. We seen that with him and Mitchell in the bubble.
Yeah. But that was great. That was great theater. It actually made me want to have more bubbles.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. I mean, 40
I'll
points on both sides.
140s to 136s.
The overs, I'm sure the overs were hitting constantly in the bowl.
Yeah, and they moved them up pretty high too. Tyler, any other dark horse candidates you like here?
I mean, just looking at this list, I mean, if you wanted to take the shot on Memphis, maybe. I mean, Boston.
I think you guys are right, though.
I mean, if I had
25 to 1, though.
If any team below Miami in these standings that I'd have to pick, it'd probably just be Boston. From the West it'd be Dallas, from the East it'd be Boston.
All right, I give you $100. You have to bet either Dallas or Boston at these numbers. Which one do you like better?
Probably Dallas, just because they're in the West. And I think they only have to get through 1 to 2 teams. I think they can walk through everybody else.
Glaucoma, I don't know what to make of Boston. They've been so good, but it just feels like, I don't know. Like, is it going to keep going? And it seems like they're very Tatum dependent.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you look at their bench, it's horrible. But their starting five is like, elite. One of the best all around.
And they can run
starting
42 minutes
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think if Tatum can keep up his streak of performance, they'll be a force to reckon with in the playoffs for sure. They'll be a tough out, man. And I'm just looking at the standings. I can't believe Atlanta is that low. I thought they've been a decent team.
I can't. We've been fading them all year, especially before it was about the mid-January.
Yeah,
I mean, they were just terrible.
Trey's just been playing so good. It's surprising to see them that low. But yeah, I mean, I think the East is pretty clear. I mean, I think Chicago is kind of a pretender team. I don't think they can play the defense to win in the playoffs. Exactly. So for me in the East, it's the clear top 4 teams, and then if Brooklyn can stay healthy, and get out of that play-in stage, then they can probably make an upset. It'll be interesting to see who they'd go up against, but I think the East is more clear than the West is. I think the West is more up for grabs, and then like the East,
That's
Miami,
funny.
Milwaukee,
the East
Philly,
is more up for grabs. But I guess everything changes with Steph going out.
Yeah. I just think the top of the East is it's really top heavy, right? And you see it's just a 4-game spread between the top 4 teams. So that's why I think it's more clear. And in the West, you kind of have Phoenix at the very top, and then you just have all this jumble of teams. So yeah, that's kind of my view. I think the East is Miami, Milwaukee, Philly, Boston, Brooklyn, and then the West. Who knows what's going to happen? But I think all those teams are live in the top 6 for sure on the West.
Now there's no news out of Clippers that either of those guys will be back. I know we're not going to get Kawhi news until he's like on the floor, like practicing, but no Paul George news, right? Because if those guys step back on the floor, that could easily be the best team in the West.
Yeah, but I don't think either of them are coming back this year.
That's what I was thinking too. But I think that's something to watch. Like if you get weird news coming out of that camp, like you might want to get a bet in before them guys get back there.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, what if I told you, and I don't know if you can actually bet this, I think that Phoenix is going to be halfway to becoming the NBA's version of the Buffalo Bills at the end of the year. What if I said I think they make the finals and lose? What would you say of that prospect?
I mean, looking at the West, it wouldn't surprise me. Like they could just kind of they're plus 140 to win the West now that Steph's went down. Like that numbers went way down since yesterday.
It should.
If Dallas doesn't stop them, like Memphis is built similar to them, and I think Phoenix is just the more experienced team. They'll just take it to them. Utah's not going to stop them, so they could easily walk right back into the finals and then run right back into a Milwaukee, a Miami, a Philly, a Boston, somebody there that just has the scoring and the defense to contend with them.
If I'm Dallas, I'm hoping that Phoenix gets taken out.
Yeah. I think
it's a tough matchup for them.
I think their chances this year are better than they were last year.
That's interesting.
Because we knew once Ayton went off the floor, there was no other big man to contend. Well, now once he goes off the floor, like they kind of backed them up with some like bigger bodies. Like you got McGee coming off the bench, Biyombo sitting over there. So like you have bigger guys you could throw on the floor when you get to that. So I'd say they have a better chance than last year.
Yeah, they're not even playing 8 and 30 plus minutes now, and it's frustrating from a DFS perspective because Ayton would smash. I feel like on a nightly basis because he's just so cheap in fantasy. You know, if he actually got the right run, but you know they're not even playing him like committed to playing him 30 plus, and maybe they're saving him for the playoffs, but. You know, yeah, that's a good point because they're just so comfortable with the guys that are backing them up behind them, you know, that they can just kind of chill with Ayton. And maybe you can kind of think maybe it's a contractual thing. Like they don't want him to get too crazy, you know, because maybe they want to hold his contract down or something like that. But, you know,
look around the NBA too.
Dude, he's getting maxed regardless.
but you look around spread, it's like there's not many other really good centers, and 2 of those all NBA center spots are locked up. If he played his ass off all year, he probably locks up that 3rd spot. His contract goes up. Now you owe him more money.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just thinking.
They're like, you're going to only play 25 to 28 minutes.
I think he's so young. Why is he not playing?
When they didn't extend him, I think they're moving on. And when he was out, they were still winning. I think they want to go small. I think they're going to run the center, you know, the way that these NFL guys run through running backs. I think they're doing that with center.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think he's a little different than other guys.
Yeah, that draft is a failure if you're going to give up your first pick, you know, this early.
Yeah,
I think
maybe I'm making too much into them not extending them, but I couldn't believe it. I was in shock that they didn't. I was like, what does the guy need to do? Get better on offense. He's excellent on defense.
He could be a restricted free agent this year, right?
Yeah, but he deserved that extension.
But they'll let him go into those waters. And because if somebody tries to lowball them, they could just match it. And now you have them on a gimme deal. So it's like
worst case. Worried about like the Kings scenario, or the Blazers or these teams that just like
they'll just match the deal. They don't care.
Yeah.
I guess right.
I think that's what it is. They're crossing their fingers that someone comes in and lowballs them, and they could just match that deal as a restricted free agent. Yeah. Now you have them on a bargain deal instead of having to max them out. But if team comes in, maxes off the contract, you just match it and just deal with it.
All right, Glock, let's do one more fun thing, and then let's jump into that mock draft, and we can talk about maybe some players we'll keep an eye out in March Madness. So let's say you're Dallas. Who would you rather play in the first round? Phoenix or in the conference finals? Phoenix or Memphis?
Memphis for sure. Yeah, Luka has owned Ja in the past, and you know I kind of troll on Twitter sometimes that Ja's an MVP candidate, but Luka is lower down on him than the latter, and that kind of upsets me because like what is Ja doing that Luka is not? You know, like Luka's leading his team
in shape for the first 2 months of the season. Okay, and I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but I think
dunking.
I think that has something to do with it, right? I mean, a lot of these guys. I'm old, right? These guys are like 20 years older than me. Like that means like a lot to them. Like I think that expecting these guys like to use analytics and stuff that, you know, just like hobnobbed and ate nachos in the press box for 30 plus years, you know.
But yeah,
next one for you.
I would take the Memphis for sure. I would take the inexperience and, you know, that'd be definitely fun to watch.
Phoenix or Golden State? Who would you rather play?
Golden State.
All right. Memphis or Golden State?
Memphis.
All right. Now, Tyler, did you pull up a mock draft? We figure, guys, it is March Madness, but we wanted to give it an NBA tilt. So we're going to go over the mock draft. And
before we
Glockoma and I might not be too giving too much input here, but at least guys to look for.
Before we do that spread,
yeah,
I just got to touch on something for this year's upcoming NFL rundowns. You can't slander me about Baker anymore on the Cleveland because he just requested a trade. He's out.
We were just talking about him before we hopped on, and as we hopped on, he requested a trade.
Yep.
Oh wow. Hopefully he'll get traded to Pittsburgh.
No, we got Mitch Berg. We don't need him. We got Mitch Berg.
Who's going to trade for Baker Mayfield and how much?
They said the Seahawks are interested. They said the Colts already called.
Actually, if it's Drew Lock or Baker Mayfield, that makes sense, right?
It says the Browns have told Baker Mayfield's camp they are not accommodating his request, per source.
Oh, wow. So this is going to turn into this.
Oh, wonderful. Can you imagine holding it? Okay. All right. We won't get too far into the NFL. Tyler, let's go over the mock draft and then talk about, these players so much better than I do. And then Glockoma, I'm not sure your level here, but it's okay. This is an NBA show. It's okay to say I've never seen them and I have no idea.
No, Tyler, seriously. Before Tyler breaks it down, like this is March Madness is how I kind of discover like who I think like are the next stars in the NBA. Like I remember watching vividly March Madness, like Steph Curry and Davidson, John Morant, Murray State. Like when I watch these like low teams or even the good teams, like you can watch these players and see how their skill will translate to the next level. And, right away when I saw John Morant for Murray State and Steph Curry for Davidson, I was like, man, these guys are going to be definitely good in the NBA. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
I'm the same way, Glock, but sometimes it backfires on me. Like when I think that Derek Williams is going to be the best player in the draft, but that was a crazy run he had with Arizona. All right, Tyler, why don't you go through and then maybe if you want to add your own little tidbits on what you think of the player, go ahead and read off a mock draft and we'll see who we should keep an eye out for because this will be kind of news to me.
Yeah, I went through a few of them this morning. And pretty much all of them have the same three guys at the top, just different orders.
Okay.
You got the kid Jabari Smith out of Auburn. He plays like the power forward spot. He can create his own shot. He shoots 50% from three in the last 7 games for Auburn. They got him going to Houston at 1. You got to think like you got Jalen Green as your shot creator in the backcourt. Plug him in as like the new Christian Wood. He could create his own shot out there. Probably there's your 2 building blocks for Houston. The other
that'd be bad for my guy Şengün.
But he's power forward. Şengün plugs in at center.
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. They'd probably have to get rid of Wood or something like that.
I think Wood's out of there anyways.
Wood. Yeah. The guy that's either going second or first in all the mock drafts, of course, the big unicorn out of Gonzaga, Chet Holmgren.
What do you think of him? So he's the one that I've watched the most. I think he's going to be good, personally.
I have 2 different takes on him. Either A, he just gets bullied off the floor, or B, he's the start of all these guys being like 7'2", running up and down the floor, playing every position, which they pretty much already do, but this guy's going to take it to another extent. And then you're going to have guys like Imani Bates coming in doing it. So he could be the starter.
And that
like
kid you showed me from France?
Yeah, him too. The kid that looks like Rudy Gobert that could shoot threes.
Yeah, that kid's ridiculous.
So yeah, he could be the start of something new. They have him going to Orlando. So him and Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, Jonathan Isaac, pretty cool. Just add to the Giants in Orlando.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
The guy going third, they have the Paulo Banchero out of Duke, the power forward.
Okay, so you must have watched him because he's Duke. What do you think of him?
I'm not big on him. Like, he's a solid player. I think he's going to get red flagged in the draft because he had this weird problem where he sheds like 15 pounds a game. I know it was only at the beginning of the year, the couple games he went out with.
I need that problem.
But you think about it, like NBA teams are going to look at that and it's going to be like, do we really want this guy on our team? And then down the line, when we really need him, he's on the bench because of cramps, and we knew that was going to come. So I could see him maybe dropping a few spots because of that.
Does he have? Do you think he has a Porter Jr. type slide? How far do you think?
No, not a because he doesn't have a huge back problem. Like this problem only flared up like once or twice, and then like he was able to keep himself hydrated most of the games and keep playing. But I think it's something they'll keep an eye on. Because you figure NBA players, they play longer. If they want him to play 38 to 40 minutes, that could be bad for him.
All right. Glockoma, you've probably seen both Holmgren and Banchero. What are your thoughts on the player out of Gonzaga and the player out of Duke?
Yeah, like Tyler said, it's just if Chet Holmgren's size will translate properly in the NBA.
So are you worried about him getting beat up? I'm not. Porzingis is thin as a rail. He's fine. It's his skills that keep him out of the league, not the fact he's not buff enough.
I feel like Chet is a little more thin than Porzingis.
Let me double check Chet's weight. He might.
Porzingis was pretty thin when he came in New York. Though.
That's true,
and that's the year I'm talking about. And maybe I'm overcorrecting, but I remember. What if I told kid's gonna get smashed in the NBA? And then I watched him like he's playing against a bunch of 21-year-olds.
Fred, what if I told you he's got 50 pounds on me?
Holmgren?
He's skinny.
Yeah,
I think I weigh more than him.
He's got about 1.5 feet on me, and he's got 50 pounds.
Yeah, I mean,
he weighs 194 pounds, Fred.
I got to lose some weight. Guys fill out, man. I mean,
they do for sure.
He's not going to be forever, but like KD coming out of school, he was a twig too. If you watch the Texas highlights.
I mean, just for instance, though, the other names we read off in that top three, Banchero's 6'10", 250.
Yeah.
And Jabari Smith, 6'11", 249. So it's like, do you want somebody that's already going to be like NBA built ready, like can like withstand a beating, or do you want the kid that you're going to have to pack on calories?
I want the kid that's going to end up being a star. I don't care.
Well, I think all three of them have the potential. So,
who do you think will be the best, Tyler?
I think Jabari Smith's going to be the best.
I forgot to ask Glock. I'm sorry. Have you watched Jabari Smith? Because I haven't watched any of Auburn.
I haven't. I have not.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What do we got next, Tyler?
I think he's going to be pretty good. The guy at 4, if you guys haven't watched him yet, probably going to go watch highlights because he's literally John Morant's clone, Jaden Ivey.
I love that.
He's a point guard, shooting guard. He's a little bit taller than Morant. He could shoot a little better. But, like, when you watch him drive to the hoop and jump, it's like, oh, yeah, that looks like John Morant put on a Purdue jersey and just went out there. So they got him slotted in at 4.
What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Jaden Ivey.
All these guys are in the tournament, so that's good. Like, we're going to be able to watch them. Like, I think the only big case that I remember recently is Ben Simmons, right? When he was playing for LSU, they weren't in the tournament.
Markelle Fultz was also out of the tournament.
What college did he play for?
Washington.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I remember. Like, Ben Simmons playing for LSU, not being in the tournament. And in my head, I was like,
that wasn't a harbinger of what was to come, though. I mean,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like excites me to see all these guys in the tournament as somewhat high seeds because, you know, if they're touted highly, then they're leading their teams to a high seed in the tournament. And, you know, I have Gonzaga versus Duke facing off, obviously, in the Sweet 16. So if they both get that far, we'll get to see a Chet Holmgren versus Banchero matchup, which will be nice.
And you know, it was funny going back to 2018 again, right? A matchup similar reminded me was when Fox was on Kentucky and he played Lonzo and he smashed him, right? And then we were all excited in Sacramento, like when we drafted him. Like, do you remember that game? Because I thought UCLA was going to win it all that year. I had a future on them. And then I don't know. At this point, who do you think's better, Tyler, Fox or Lonzo Ball?
Fox.
Really? Will you agree, Glockoma?
I mean, Lonzo's got the injury problems too, so you can't really.
Lonzo, he's impressed me, like the way he's fixed his jumper, like the way it's improved. Like it's really impressive. But I just think as of now, Fox has shown, you know, obviously with that you guys letting go of Tyrese Halliburton, I think Fox has shown that, you know, he's the better player at the moment.
All right. Robert agrees too. He says Fox. All right, Tyler, who else do we got coming out? Who else are we scouting?
The guy 5th, they got him going to the Pacers. Keegan Murray out of Iowa. I don't know much about him.
David King's Twitter wants him so bad.
Just reading his little breakdown right here. And it says Murray has looked like college basketball's toughest cover, though it's 3-point shooting that could push him into the draft's top 5 mix. He made 22 threes over Iowa's last 7 games, turning Murray into a 41% 3-point shooter on the season. Otherwise, between his off-ball scoring, defensive tools, motors, instincts, and overall two-way versatility, he figures to be an easy fit, even if self-creation flashes don't fully carry over. So my guess is he's going to be like a catch-and-shoot guy, could play some defense. They have him listed as a power forward, which if you're getting that production out of a power forward and the 3-ball, I think that's pretty good.
6'8", he's got good size to him. Like
Franz Wagner, like, is that a comp? Like,
maybe.
I think Wagner's pretty good.
Yeah, Wagner's pretty good.
Have you seen this kid, Glaucoma Murray?
I've not, but I'm looking up his, you know, he's 6'8", 225.
Our guy Robert in the chat was already saying about, because he said Kenneth Murray by accident. He was talking about Keegan Murray.
Keegan Murray's a beast, yeah. Right. I mean, just his size and like his length, like if you can shoot the 3-ball, you could be a 3-and-D guy at the very least, yeah, you're going to be well on your way in this league.
Cool. Well, Iowa's a team that I got going far, so hopefully we'll have plenty of time to
at number 6, your king spread. And of course, they just fucking swing for the fences. They take the one kid from Kentucky that has not played this year, Shaedon Sharpe.
What?
Yeah. He reclassified to this. He was one of those kids that showed up at college early, reclassified to this year. They started to work him out, and he was maybe going to play this year, and then they were like, you're not going to play. Like, if you're in college next year, we'll play you. He'll probably plug his name into the draft to see where he can slot in after workouts. He could shoot. He can create his own shot.
Why would we play a guy that couldn't even make his own college team?
No, he made the college team spread. He was like a top 3 recruit coming out next year, reclassified to this year and enrolled in school early. they were gonna play him, and then Calipari was like, "No, like you might not be ready yet. Let's not rush this. Like, just get used to it. Get your weight pack on."
So he's been
for next
practicing all
season.
year, though.
Yeah,
okay.
He's been practicing. He plays shooting guard, and they're saying his shot making that pops in high school tapes will pop in workouts in this breakdown. So, I mean, he could be one of those.
Wiseman's got
guys.
great high school tape too.
Yeah, so he might be one of these guys that works out very well, and then we'll see how he turns out in the NBA. Cross your fingers.
I just hate when we only have high school tape on a guy.
Yeah, but we only had tape on Anthony Simons, and we see how that turned out.
But he went in like in the 20s though, didn't he?
Yeah, but he was also like 17.
All right. Glock, I assume you haven't seen this guy unless you're scouting high school.
No, yeah, for sure. There's one interesting tidbit because I was going through the mocks like when Tyler was. There's a guy going in the late first round named Nicola Jovich.
Oh yeah, I've seen him.
I remember I sent you his name spread. Yeah. I was like 7 foot Serbian. I was like,
yeah,
this dude
7
can pass.
foot.
I was like, here we go again.
Interesting, very interesting. Well, we need to keep an eye on him because he has literally almost the same name as Jokic. He's Serbian, so yeah. I mean, if he's going into the first round, he must be somewhat decent. So yeah, just funny thing I saw when I was looking down the mock draft ladder.
Who we got at 7, Tyler?
They got the Spurs picking at 7. This is my favorite guy in the draft. AJ Griffin out of Duke, 6'6", can shoot the 3 ball, 7 foot wingspan. Teams are going to drool over this guy.
So he's shooting 46%.
Shooting 46% from deep. Yeah, can guard multiple positions.
And the Kings are drafting a guy that's not on the team. They didn't play. No.
Yep.
That would probably happen, but I mean,
I love that pick for the Spurs if he's there. 6 foot.
Do you think he falls that far?
He might. In earlier mock drafts in the year spread, they had him slotted in the 20s. And then
why would you pick a guy that hasn't played basketball over this kid?
He's a top 3 recruit. And then you get the jump on him because what if he plays next year and he averages 25 and 10? He's going first.
Yeah. His comp is Jimmy Butler.
AJ Griffin.
AJ Griffin.
AJ Griffin.
Does he have the attitude like that?
He plays very good defense. I'll tell you that much for a college kid.
You need the attitude. I mean, but the mental is like there's Butler was he even a first round pick? He doesn't have like elite athleticism.
Late first round pick.
Okay. Yeah. All right, who we got next?
8 is Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin, shooting guard to the Blazers. I don't know much about him. It says some of Davis's limitations separating and shooting have been exposed over the past week, but for the majority of the season, he still produced and won games with a convincing mix of quick dribble moves, power drives, physical finishing, mid-range shot making, clutch 3 balls, and competitive defense. So probably just the replacement for CJ to plug in next to Dame is my guess. They can play a little bit of defense. At number 9, they have the Knicks taking Ty Washington, a point guard out of Kentucky who actually plays.
Do you like who actually plays?
Yeah, I think he's really good. He'd be a great thing for the Knicks to build that point guard spot around. And he's also bringing another Kentucky guy to pair with Emmanuel quickly. So they both came out of the same system. You kind of plug them right in. You maybe start quickly, have him be the bench guy now, and just go from there. At number 10, my second favorite guy in the draft, Portland's taking him. Jalen Duren, the big man out of Memphis who looks like a grown-ass man out there against boys. 7 foot, like 280, just bullies people off the ball. He's going to be a great center in the NBA.
And where is he mocked to? Portland again?
Portland at 10.
With what, the New Orleans pick from CJ?
Yeah.
Man, they've got 2 lotto picks, huh? Nice.
Well, New Orleans has to fall out.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, and if you think about it, there's a chance they could get hot and make it, right? Because right now they play the Lakers first. Right? I can't believe I'm saying this, but they probably win that.
Yeah, they probably beat them.
Then, just they'd have to upset the Clippers. And I don't think I would favor the Clippers, especially with the Clippers in Los Angeles, but that's not that far-fetched, right? Like Memphis beat the Warriors last year. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I have a site up that has all the player comps. Jalen Duren, player comp to Dwight Howard.
Yeah, he just goes out there and just.
So he'll be the 80th best player of all time. Awesome.
Number 11, they got the Grizzlies picking with the Lakers pick right here. Benedict Martin out of Arizona, shooting guard. I haven't watched a single Arizona basketball game this year, so I don't know anything about this kid. It says Martin looks NBA ready with his 6'6" frame, explosiveness, and shot making confidence. given his limitations as a creator, he would thrive alongside a point guard like John Moran who can draw the attention and set the table. So probably just another Desmond Bane plug-in. You could shoot some threes, play some defense.
Quentin Richardson comp.
Yep.
That's his comp.
That would be. I mean, that's what Los Angeles needs. Oh, yeah, but wait, that's traded away, right? That's in Memphis?
Yeah, that's in Memphis.
It's the LA pick, my bad.
It's interesting because I'm looking at this board right here, and like from like pick 10 on, they're saying like, you're not going to have like your superstar guys from 10 going forward. So it's like
that top 10 it just falls off a cliff after that. There's one name that sticks out to me that was at the top of these drafts at the beginning, made a weird college pick, and now he's in the 20s, and I think he could be a steal. That Patrick Baldwin out of Milwaukee. He went and played for his dad at Milwaukee instead of going to like a Duke or a Kansas.
Oh, and I remember they were getting on him.
Yeah, so he lowered his draft stock a little bit. This kid can score at all levels, like 6'8". This kid could be a problem.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it says Baldwin is a big wing with a smooth stroke and elite size for position who reminds me a bit of MPJ. If you're getting MPJ comps, those are KD comps.
Without
you just gotta stay healthy.
Yeah, they have him falling to 20, and the Spurs pick him up too. So add that guy to that young rotation.
I'm seeing second round. Wow, if he drops that far,
if he drops that far, you're getting an absolute steal.
Yeah.
To make your point though about no superstars, I think the GMs are better aware of that, and I think that's why you're getting more quality players. Because I think before they were going for the home runs, and now after 8, 10, you're getting all these plug and play guys that are getting drafted and moving up, and you're getting immediate contributors that won't necessarily ever be all-stars. But most of these teams already know who they're building around. So, I think it's making it even harder to draft like late in the first round or in the second round and get good players.
And Glock's going to love this pick at 25. You can't pair Jokic and Doncic, but you could pair Doncic and Jovich.
No way.
They have him taking him at 25.
That's the only reason why I brought him up, because I saw.
That's wonderful.
And then the only other name that I know on this list spread that I actually paid attention to, they have the Warriors taking Jaden Hardy, the G League shooting guard at 29.
Mm-hmm.
The dude was a top recruit coming out last year. He was supposed to be one of these really good G League guys, and he was one of the ones that kind of slipped at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be another one that they pick up late, groom him, and all of a sudden it's like, how did this guy fall to 29? So he's another name I'd watch out for.
Yeah, man. When these guys go late, it's like, first of all, it's like high school, like Jalen Green, right? High school to G League. It's a big difference, man. You're beating kids that are your age and less athletic, and then you got to go against grown men who are almost as athletic. Then he goes G League to NBA, same deal, right? He struggled in his first half of the G League season, balled out in the second half. He's doing the same thing in Houston. So. Yep. I'm really wary when these kids start slow and they want to write them off.
Hardy's comp is Anthony Simmons.
Yeah, that's so he could be another
good
one.
Comp.
Yeah.
And that puts us at 29 spread. So, and then 30 if they have OKC taking some Christian Coloco center out of Arizona.
All right.
Very good shot blocker, just a big man for OKC to trade away in a couple of years.
All right. Well, cool. That was fun. That kind of gave us a little college twist here to the show, but let's jump into tonight's game. Anything more on the draft, Tyler, before?
Nope, that's it. I mean, just it's the bright thing that we got most of these guys in the tournament. You get to watch them, so just keep an eye on all those names we talked about. Should get some nice highlights out of them.
Yeah, I can't wait because as a Kings fan, the draft is the highlight of our season. So let's jump into
when you're
tonight.
Drafting a guy who hasn't played college ball.
Wouldn't that be so Kangs? I mean, I want to go get my little blue jacket out. Like, remember that one day, Tyler, the guy tried to troll me in the chat when I was wearing the Kangs?
Yeah, you're like,
Kangs
buddy.
suck, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, that
doesn't change anything. I know that for the past 15 years we suck.
Let's talk about two other lottery-bound teams. The Detroit Pistons are now only +2. Did we get Cade news while we were talking? Let me hit refresh.
Grant's out.
Still questionable.
Nope, we don't have it yet, but we got Wendell. He's out.
Wendell's out. Does he move the line 1.5 points? Interesting. Magic are down to -2. Tyler, I think this is an interesting game. One concern I have trying to handicap it straight up is, do they want to win, right? And I don't know how much the lottery's changed because I haven't done too much work on that sort of stuff. They've evened out the ping pong balls, but still it is an advantage to have the absolutely worst record, right? And other than Houston, these two teams are down there, right? 18-52, 18-51. If they play their hardest, I'm assuming Cade sits. I like Orlando to win this game. They're at home. They've split the series so far. Detroit's won their 2 in Detroit. Orlando won by 16 when they played in Orlando. We've talked about it before for like a team that's losing a lot. They're not unbalanced. At least they can put out a nice balanced roster. They're not like, the old Kings or the Pacers where they're all guards or one way or the other, right? Some good forward play here. I know there's no Wendell Carter, but I think they can absorb that. And who's really going to take advantage of it that much? Bagley, because Bagley is one of those guys, even if he scores 20, he's probably going to give up 25. I like the Magic here, but I'm worried that these teams might not play their hardest. How do you approach this game?
I mean, it's an ugly one, I'll tell you that much.
I mean,
if they were ever to put a standalone game, like how the hell did they fall?
I wonder if it's part of the TNT contract.
It's got to be like
TNT has the tournament.
Yeah, they're like, give us one game.
Yeah,
we're just gonna
they're like, we have one more addition to the contract before we finalize it.
Yeah,
I
mean, Grant's out, Diallo's out, Jackson's out, and then on the other side of Kiki, Suggs, and Carter, Magruder questionable, Cade questionable. If they both play, I think Detroit wins. I mean, they're pretty much neck and neck in the standings. You have Magic at 18 and 52, Pistons at 18 and 51. I think the Magic are more in tank mode than the Pistons because ever since the All-Star break, it seems like the Pistons have just been trying to win games.
But it's behind Cade.
Yeah, but I still think it's like they're going to try. So I'm going to side with Detroit here. But unless I'm getting that $100 free bet we always talked about, I'm not betting this game.
Well, Chris W., not happy about where I live. I'm not even going to read that, Chris. Wow, very hurtful. Glock. So one good thing, though, I'd say for tonight, if you want to say play DFS and don't bet, this is it because regardless of whether or not the coaches and the organization and the trainers are trying to win, the players are going to try and put up numbers when they're on the court. Players don't care what draft pick they get next year. So I think that when we're projecting minutes, we know that the players are going to give us full effort. It's just, are we going to get those strong rotations? How are you approaching this one?
Yeah, so it really lies on the Q tags of Cade Cunningham. And, believe it or not, that Q tag of Rodney Magruder is huge too, because, he actually slotted into the starting lineup last game that Cade missed. So, if you're looking at it from a DraftKings perspective, Rodney Magruder is 1.2K. And starting, that's like a really cheap value play. Obviously, he played 20 minutes and got you 11.25. On this DFS slate, I don't think you're going to have any issues playing whoever you want, especially with Wendell Carter out. You're going to slide Mo Bamba in there. If Cade Cunningham is in, he's probably my favorite captain play. And then, if he's out, likely just go to Sadiq Bey, right? And they don't have Jeremy Grant. So you assume Marvin Bagley slides into his spot. He's also a captain I'm considering just to jam in, a few more solid pieces. But, Wendell Carter's out, Chuma Okeke's out. So their front court depth is already jeopardized on the Orlando side. And you have guys that, Mo Wagner, he's 4.6K, who's been crushing in his limited time, put up 35.75 fantasy points in 22 minutes last game. I don't see why he could do the exact same thing here. He's a great value play. And then you probably see some minutes from Admiral Schofield as well, who's min price. So there's a lot of ways you can go. Tons of value plays that are good. One guy I didn't touch on the Detroit side is Isaiah Livers. I think that's how you say his name. He's been, it looks like they seem to be more committed to playing him. He's played 27 minutes and 32 minutes his last 2 games, put up 20.25 fantasy points in one game and then 30.5 in the other. Since they're missing Jeremy Grant and, Chris Smith as well, I feel like they're going to give him some more run, especially with Marvin Bagley likely sliding into the starting lineup. So, as a value play, 2.4K, he might be in all of my lineups tonight. I think what you guys are talking about, teams are committed to tanking. They want to get a look at these younger guys. Just based on these past 2 games that Livers has played, they really seem to just want to play him more, over 25 minutes. So he's projecting well, and I think he's a great value play at 2.4K. So just one thing to keep in mind, just with the pricing on Showdown slate today, generally you always want that, like the player you think that's going to score the most fantasy points in that top position, right? Because they get that 1.5x multiplier. And if the pricing is tight, like let's say all these guys were in and it was hard to jam in all these guys, then that's when you would consider to dropping down to like maybe the second or third highest scoring guy because they're cheaper in salary. And that way you can jam in more raw fantasy points. But I think on this slate, focus on who you think will be the highest fantasy point producer in your captain spot. And then, just fill in from there, because I think the pricing is soft enough and there's enough value based on the current injury situation that we have, to build a nice lineup that you like without having to, punt off that captain position.
What time do you think we get the news?
And I hope they don't keep us waiting for it, right? At this point, you probably think Cade is a game time decision, maybe. But we probably get an hour before.
Half hour?
Half hour now. If it's game time, maybe half hour.
If he's just sick, I'm wondering if he hits the floor, and then they see. But it's weird because it's not like an injury. I mean, like an ankle where you would test it, where you test to see if your nose is running. So that'll be
non-COVID illness, they say. So yeah, I mean, I do like Detroit if Cade is in, and he would be my top captain choice for sure if he's in. But if not, then I don't know. It gets a lot tougher. Sadiq Bey, anytime he's like chalk, it's hard to roster him. He's just so inconsistent to me. But he would obviously be the alpha on Detroit, if Cade is out. So he'd be my favorite captain play if Cade's out.
All right, Tyler, do you have any props you like in this one?
I mean, if Cade plays, I'll play his PRA. And then if maybe a player performance double on him, like 20 plus points and win. But there's nothing listed for him right now with him being questionable.
Yeah, because I was going to do some player props for my rainy day, even though I usually don't do props. But they were taking forever to get up.
Yeah, I don't see much I like in this game spread.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's why we kind of did the other content today, because I kind of feel the same way. Like right now, if you say make the pick right now, right? I'm going to take Orlando because I don't think Cade's playing. But I don't love the bet if Cade plays. If Cade plays, they have the best player on the floor. They've been trying their hardest. It seems to me that they're less likely to be full in on the tank, especially because Orlando just committed to this tank. So it's like you first start something, right? You first go on a diet. You're gonna stay on the diet, right? The first couple of weeks, So they just committed to the tank, right? I don't know if they're ready to go.
I mean, maybe a Sadiq Bey 3+3s in Detroit wins at +205. If he's out there by himself, he's just gonna be flinging them. So they pull off the win. He probably shoots like 9 threes. He should be good for 3 of them.
Yeah. Hey, We the People says no incentive for Cade to play. Do you think he cares about Rookie of the Year?
I mean, he might, but I also think that race is pretty much over. I think it's the same situation as last year. Like, Ant Edwards went on this tear to end the season.
Yeah.
People didn't care because LaMelo had his team in the playoffs. So
yeah. I remember my buddy had a Halliburton ticket. And I kept saying, like, he's on the Kings, dude. Nobody cares, dude. He can put up like 30 and 10. Like,
and then maybe he balls out, and your buddy's probably like, we got something here. You're like,
no, because numerically, I thought he was pretty close to LaMelo, right? But it just didn't feel like he was changing the culture the same way LaMelo Ball was.
Some of these awards, like, they're narrative based, like that most improved player, that should go to a different guy other than Ja, in my opinion. I know Ja improved, but like we already knew he was going to be like.
Elite. Who would you give it to?
I mean, Maxey went from being a bench player to an actual like key role player for Philly.
Okay. That's a good argument.
His points per game came up like 5 or 6 points per game, so he'd be one I'd look at. Let me pull back up the list, see who they got on there.
Glock, have you looked at the most improved player award? Who would you say is the most improved this year?
I mean, Ja was a lock the last time I looked, right?
You can't tell me Darius Garland shouldn't have a shot at that.
That's a great one.
I feel like Desmond Bane is more improved than Ja Morant.
Miles Bridges, like some of these guys went from being like what we thought were just going to be like average draft picks to like, all right, some of these guys might actually be like key players on teams.
Yeah. So, I hate to say it, but D'Angelo Russell, probably worth a mention too. I thought he was trash and one of the worst contracts in the league, and he's out there making positive contributions. I really did. I thought it was one of the worst contracts. When I watched him on the Warriors, and I'm like, you won't even defend when Draymond Green's yelling in your ear. Like, I don't know what we're going to do with you then, right? You got Draymond Green screaming at you, and you still don't want to give any effort. But I don't know. I guess he likes hanging out with Kat. All of a sudden, he's trying hard now.
I see they finally put respect on Bam's name in this Defensive Player of the Year race.
Well, he's been like Ric Flair trying to promote it.
Well, he's all the way up. He Ric Flaired himself to being the favorite because now he's plus 110.
Ahead of
Rudy, ahead of Giannis, ahead of Jaren Jackson Jr.
What do you think of that?
I mean,
I like it.
Of course, Rudy's like always going to be in this conversation because of the way they play defense.
Well, yeah, because it's like he's carrying 4 guys on his back.
Yeah, so I don't hate the Bam being up there because what he does, and then Jaren Jackson should be a little higher than 16-1 in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I wonder if it's all the fouls. Glock, who would you choose for defensive player of the year?
I like Bam, honestly. I think he's just a key cog of Miami. I think Rudy Gobert, he's won it too many times. So let someone else win it, in my opinion.
Voter fatigue, right? And you know what's stupid though is like they were doing that with Michael Jordan when I was a kid. Well, I don't know if I was a kid, but when I was in my prime, and it was just stupid because we're looking back and we're like, Karl Malone was never better than Michael Jordan. Like, you got to be kidding me! Like,
I mean, there's still people that say Derrick Rose stole one from LeBron, and there was voter fatigue there. Even though Rose had a great season.
I would say yes.
I mean,
that's why LeBron locked him down in the playoffs to prove.
Yeah, he's like, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, I would say, but it's true. It's just voter fatigue. So, and hey, who cares? They're like awards. I know everyone else wants to use them for like the Hall of Fame and stuff, but I mean, honestly, listening to the way and I'm not speaking specifically of you, Tyler, although I still can't believe you never heard Miles Davis, but seeing the way these kids talk about Jordan and all these kids that I watched up that I know are great and they've never seen them and the way they disrespect them, I just realized like the idea that you're making history, you're really making history for 30 years because after everyone that watched you is gone, nobody's going to talk about you no matter what you did. So, I mean, the fact that we leave Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem out of these discussions is wild. Defense, of course, you hate defensive player of the year. We the people. What minus 1,000 hits? We the people doesn't care about defensive player of the year. We the people. His strategy on defense is just slide around, hope the other team misses. Right? We don't need to defend. Right? This is an all offense game.
He had a good point. RJ Barrett making a strong case for MIP. I mean, if the season started after the All-Star break, he would probably be the favorite. I mean, after the All-Star break, I don't know if you guys read that article, but he was like, I'm tired of sucking. I think I want to be good and take the next step. And he has.
Next time I lose 5 bets in a row, I'm going to tell myself that in the morning.
Yeah, quote RJ Barrett. I'm tired of sucking.
All right. Well, this is a lot of fun, guys. Anything else on the award markets, or you want to just give out a best bet and call it a day?
I mean, I can throw out a best bet spread, but I don't really like anything on the board, so probably be Detroit money line.
What about the under? I like the under. I think that's the best play yet.
I like the under.
I don't hate it, but I think for the most part, I'm just going to watch me some college basketball today. We'll get back to the NBA tomorrow with the 12-game slate.
Okay, that's fine. Glaucoma, we got to give something for the people here. My best bet's under 219. Give them, I don't know, maybe like a good captain option and a good secondary piece, and let's do it if Cade sits.
Yeah,
because that'd be fun.
Yeah, so if Cade sits, I'm probably going to be playing Saddiq Bey at captain. And, if you're familiar with Showdown, you kind of have to script it like NFL the way you think the game's going to go. So I think for my Detroit win script, Saddiq Bey is going to be my captain. And then if it's Orlando win, then Cole Anthony is going to be my captain because, they don't have Jalen Suggs. Cole Anthony's usage should bump up. And I think, like I said, Isaiah Livers is probably going to be in all of my lineups just as a Detroit guy. So Cole Anthony captain, Saddiq Bey captain, and then Mo Bamba in the util, Isaiah Livers in the util. And then I like Marvin Bagley in the util as well. That's kind of like my little showdown core.
They got to listen to us talk basketball for 55 minutes, but still got some winners. And We the People said, hey, guys, give out some best bets. I've been doing it all week. We the People says my best bet is Joseph, 5+ assists and the W. I bet you that pays pretty well. Yeah, I don't know what the definition. I never really followed these awards till people started betting on them. I always just figured, right, like if you're an MVP candidate, that's all that matters. You either have a player that can be the best team on a championship team or you don't. It doesn't matter if you're the 4th best player in the league. Because the 4th best player in the league can win a chip, right? But if De'Aaron Fox is your best player, you can't win a chip. Luka Doncic is, you can, right? So to me, that's all that matters. Tyler, what would be your definition of what the defensive player of the year is? Like, how would you rate that?
I mean, you pretty much put a nail on the head. So I got nothing else to add to that but what you said. Pretty much just like, locking them down. Like, you could go off a defensive rating when they're on and off the floor, but that only factors in so much because there's 4 other guys on the floor too. So
especially like, let's say you're Bam and you're and I don't know the rotation for sure because I haven't done a popcorn machine for a while. But what if you go off with Jimmy Butler every time, or you have to play with Tyler Hero every time, right?
He goes on the floor with like Jimmy, Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin.
Difference would be with Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, right?
Yeah, so it's like you can just fall into good stats. So that's my only thing to worry about that.
I think it's politics. I think it's all politics.
Yeah, that too. Whoever can scream the loudest.
The media machine. Who do they want to push the most? Do they want to push Jokic this week? Do they want to push Embiid? Same for Defensive Player of the Year. All those awards. I feel like it's all politics.
Yeah. So we the people, we do not have a good answer for you. But thanks for hanging out, man. I know you're watching college basketball all day. I know you dabble in both sports and give winnings. Yeah, Ramon. Hey, we did an hour on a 1-game slate. We thought this was gonna be like a 20-minute show. So thank you for watching, Ramon, and we appreciate the kind words.
I haven't seen him in the chat in a while.
I know. Yeah, I have to hop in. When the playoffs get here, I think we're gonna get some guys we haven't seen for a while. So definitely excited about that, and definitely excited to know that Ramon is part of the viewers. Tyler, any words of wisdom before we go off?
Nope. Just tune into all the college basketball March Madness going on. JJ has a ton of picks on the sheet, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, isn't that an awesome?
Yeah, we have
I got all this
NBA
action
games tomorrow to fire away on, so can't wait.
Yeah,
we'll be back tomorrow with the winners in the NBA. Ugly game tonight, so not going to force it. 12 games tomorrow. I'll have them for you.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy tonight, dude. I get to watch and just be a fan. Obviously, I'm going to have some money on it, but it's not my pick. So it's a little bit more relaxing for whatever reason you take ownership on your own picks. Glockoma, where can the people find you for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, I'm actually flying out to Big T's tomorrow, but we'll have our usual content, 12 gamer tomorrow. I think it's like a smaller 4 to 5 game slate on Saturday, but we'll have all the playbooks, the cores up on the DFS side. As always, we'll keep the winners going, even though we're all getting together at Big T's. So yeah, it should be fun.
All right. You beating up on the slab, Glockoma. Who's your target?
Apparently, I'm going up against Helmet, who's a producer. He's Hoop's brother or cousin or something like that. I don't know. I've never seen him in real life. I've seen him in Zoom calls.
I bet you Hoop's family's athletic.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hoop looks like he can race around.
That was on Big T's card, so I guess I'm against Helmet Creator. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that turns out.
You.
Nick says thanks for the plus 180 units this week. You're on my part. You're welcome for the 4 units that I provided in there. And Tyler and the rest of the guests, thank you for the other 176. So we appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back tomorrow with the normal format. But we thought it'd have some fun today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Run.